For the video to come up. Hey, yo, what's good? You in the TI hood, mother. Hey, everybody, welcome to TI Take Talking Initiative. Today, we're going to be discussing episodes 5 and 6 of the Storm King's Thunder campaign. How's everybody doing today? Yeah, thumbs up. Got thumbs up. Yeah. All right. So, what did you guys do? What happened?
What?
Well, I woke up and then I went to the farmer's market.
That's good.
Had a piece of toast.
Ooh. Yeah, she did. It was really, really good. And
I
I had
guess
some
it's in the mail.
Marple Serple.
I don't think that's a word.
That's what I like to call it. Marple Serple.
No, don't call it that.
So, I mean, in the game. What'd you guys do in the game?
Ah!
The game that we're playing.
For that,
we just recorded.
Josh.
but for that, we turned to Nicholas to tell us about that, right?
Yeah, Nicholas, what'd we do?
He's got such a good memory for these things. I don't know how he does it.
Okay, wait. No. I know this one. This one is a good one. 2 episodes. We are done killing everybody in the churches, and we get the Zentarum.
Killed churches? The group?
No, we killed everybody in every goblin in the churches, in the church, and then we captured the Zentarum agent, and we decide Kella Darkhole.
Oh no!
Close, but no. You did change it to that, but
Such a weird name.
When you say it out loud, you realize, oh no.
Then I believe that we search the town a little bit more, and we come across a bunch of goblins just playing with some pumpkins that we decide to murder.
Mm-hmm.
I guess because a dead goblin is better than a live goblin, if you ask Moose.
If you're calling the Moose, yes, that is fact.
After that, we make our way to the castle. It's a little bit of
fast.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a difficult situation because the bridge is already taken down, so we had to like jump over with some rope and climb over. We make it inside the castle and realize that the Queen of Nightstone, I guess you could say, or
the lady.
She's
She's not really a queen. She's just like more or less a glorified mayor.
She has a lot of money in a castle.
Basically.
She got demolished by some rocks. She ain't looking too good.
As a matter of fact, she's not looking at all.
She's looking a little flat. And so surrounded by her are a bunch of soldiers, the last of the town's guard, pretty much protecting the castle. None of them know who the leader is. So Mortimer like takes it upon himself and is like, all right, well, clearly I'm the most experienced person here. I got this taken care of. And then he instructs them of what to do.
Guys, it's okay. I'm level 2.
Hold this. And then,
I'm 2 level higher than you commoners.
We get word that the lady died, that there's no leadership. All of the people escaped town, but they don't know where they went off to. They did have a meeting place, but there's no word has come back, so they don't know where the people of the town are. We kept Kella prisoner, and we were allowed to stay in the castle as long as we didn't go up to the lady's room, which Zell immediately broke the rule and went into the lady's room and got attacked by a ghost?
By a sword. An animated sword.
Well, you can't deny it was a ghost. It could be a ghost holding a sword.
Yeah,
almost.
It was an animated sword that was linked to the chest.
And then Zell was kicked out promptly because he broke the one rule we had.
Yep.
And then we got
one rule, and he broke it within 5 seconds.
We got word that the Zentarum is coming, and our main goal is to pull up the drawbridge because we do not want them in town. And I think that's where we left off, is us going off to close the drawbridge.
So, no, you did close the drawbridge.
Oh, okay.
And then the last little bit was that it? Going to yes, you did go to the wall, right? Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There's a Tressum that we found.
You got a little friend.
Oh.
Nope.
We don't?
We don't.
I wonder what it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Moose was acting in everyone's best interest. She was
Which is Moose's best interest.
Yes. Yes.
Everyone's best interest is Moose's best interest.
Or is
Yeah. So I think that's where we.
genuinely thought that they were about to die.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what was everybody's feelings on what's happening so far in this messed up town?
They can't get a break.
I can tell you, Zell's unhappy he didn't get a fancy new sword.
That's fair. You did not get the sword. It did try and kill you.
I'm so close.
just
though.
want to be
So
your
close.
friend.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't befriend a sword that's linked to a chest and has commands that it has to follow.
If I opened the chest, I clearly belong to the chest, so it works out.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. It would be a
Uh,
pry bar. Or,
Josh, apparently nobody can hear you.
Toothpick.
Kentaro says he can't hear you. Yeah, you muted.
I'm gonna dip out for a quick second.
Okay, go ahead. So yeah, how's everybody feeling about Nightstone so far?
Sucks. It's so boring.
This should be better. You guys should be able to hear me now. I just had the wrong microphone in OBS.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, Nightstone is a little tough because it's like we already came into this completely destroyed situation.
Mhm.
We're kind of just like, I feel like every other time we get into combat, we are like just walking in and it's just starting. This is the first time that we've like come into a town ready to do stuff and realize, oh, all of the bad things already happened. So I understand where Hannah's coming from, where it's a little boring.
But
But
I also had that fear of when you guys first walked in that we were going to have a wild sheep chase moment of all of us just being like, yeah, it looks like a problem. Bye. And then you guys just dipping. So there was always that chance that could happen. And I would have been like, all right, well, fucking figure
goes
something
the
else out.
You came.
Well, there goes at least the beginning. Let's figure out somewhere else to get you guys up to level 5.
There's a place in Mist you could go to. I'll get you up a couple levels.
Well, let's not go there ever again.
please don't.
So yeah, a lot's happening in this town, and it's kind of unfortunate because this beginning area is really meant in the campaign to kind of be this idea of like, oh, you guys stumble across this town that your characters are supposed to wind up at, and then eventually you guys find that they're in trouble. And typically, the normal adventurer group would be like, oh, this town's in trouble, we should help. But that doesn't always happen. People who just like, I don't fucking care. You have elaborate backstories that would be like, I don't care about these people. I have no attachment. I'm gone. So it's a little bit of a challenge to try and figure out how I can manage to get you guys to keep, I guess, on the path, so to say. But how do you guys feel about that so far? Are you guys finding it a little bit difficult to like stay with the town, or do you guys feel that it's okay?
I mean, it feels fine. There's just not enough things to touch.
Right.
And
There are not enough levers and buttons.
I think we kind of fell into the trap of wanting to like find the immediate puzzle, and
Right.
like we're running around and trying to figure stuff out. And really, the solution was shit's fucked.
Yeah. It's unfortunately not a very, especially at level 1, it's not a very like puzzle heavy
Yeah.
to a game, because it's very just like, there's a town, it's messed up, people are in trouble. That's the whole spiel. It's a very, very typical like fantasy introduction of like, what do you guys as adventurers want to do? So I decided to try and keep this introduction after the fact more so a introduction to your characters and what their personalities are, and tried to focus more on that rather than like, hey, there's a town, it's in trouble. We all know that. That's the problem. But what's up with these people that we just met? We're only 6 episodes in, and what's going on with them?
Yeah.
And so far, I like your interactions with each other. I think that you guys have, at least in this beginning portion, have found a good like middle ground amongst you guys to decide like, how do I approach these people? How do we interact with each other? Even though literally in the game you've just all met.
Well, it's been kind of a bumbling mess, and I think that came to a head at the end of 6, or 6 in general, because we had Immediately, Zell did not listen to what was going on, and all of us were like, he's not really a friend, though. Like, he's an acquaintance,
Just met
maybe.
this dude.
So he completely screwed off somewhere. Surreal was like, okay, this is a plan, but I'll try to be diplomatic from up here. We'll see how that fight goes, because no one's listened to that yet except for the patrons. Then Moose was like, screw it, do the battle. Me over there, I was trying to be strategic, and we'll see how that goes during the fight. And then Barty's like, hi, everyone. I'm here. How do I help? So everyone started kind of going off on their own paths in the middle of battle, and I think that's a very important moment because we get to see how everyone reacts to things
Right.
in character.
To catch Morgan up, because he was gone for a little bit, essentially we're talking about how the beginning isn't very puzzle heavy, and it's very much like, this is a beginning town. It's in trouble. There's people. That's the problem. That's it. And how more so we've been trying to focus this beginning portion on you guys and your interactions and your character development to get more insight into who the characters are as opposed to what's actually happening in the background.
Surreal fucking hated Nightstone. She was like, fuck this town. Fuck these nobody people. Let's get out of here.
I didn't know Surreal was so worried about people's fame.
Well,
People's what?
She's so worried about saving the celebrities.
these are nobodies.
Not the nobody.
These are nobodies.
No, I meant that there's nobody there. Like,
She'll save all the celebrity children.
Quick, who's your parents?
I don't have any. You're Batman.
I mean,
guys, sorry, just completely apropos or nothing. The reason why I was stepped out is that our neighbor's oven broke, and so we baked a cake for her, and that's all very well and good. But now it smells like freshly baked cake in our.
Yeah, now we got to buy a cake.
I just got that wafting.
and it's the worst thing. It smells so good.
So now we have to immediately go to the grocery store and buy some ingredients.
So in contrast to Surreal not wanting to be in Nightstone, Mortimer was kind of designed in the way of, hey, I used to be a guard. I like to help people. Let's do the thing and help people because that's what you should do. So for me, it was, this is my thing. Let's do it. Cool.
Yeah.
Why is no one following me? What's going on? But I felt kind of at home with it.
Yeah. It's kind of this like weird link of everybody's motivation of why they're here in Nightstone. And like it kind of all stems from Mortimer in a sense because Mortimer. Oh, is the timer going off on Alexa?
Yeah.
It kind of all stems for everybody's reason of why they're here to Mortimer because Mortimer's the only one who's kind of like, we have to help these people. Surreal's like, I don't want to be here, but I'm not going to ditch Mortimer because I like Mortimer. And then Moose is like, I
had a job here, but
I had a job here, but also these people are kind of cool, I guess, maybe, but I'm never going to tell them that. And then Zell and Barty are just kind of like along for the ride. So it kind of all stems from like Mortimer's the only one who's like, we have to help.
He's dad.
Yeah.
Mortimer's the dad.
Right.
Well, I mean,
it's
this
very fitting.
This is like this is our second longer campaign, and it's like it differs in the way of Strahd, where Strahd you're kind of just like you're thrown directly into Murder House. You know, it's like that's the first thing that you're getting into, and you don't really have time to worry about character because you're just so worried about not dying, which we only succeeded 3/4 of the way.
Yeah, you say we pretty strongly.
But with this, it's like the story is already happening. It's a little bit more of like a slow build, and we're really getting to know what our characters are like together, as opposed to like, oh, this is what happens when everybody immediately is worried about survival. Now we're just like, oh no, these are what will happen when 5 individuals just happen to come upon a town, and then we really get a sense of who they are right from the beginning, which I actually really like. But yeah, that's my take on it.
But also, it's what this was session 2 technically.
Session 2, yeah.
This is session 2, yeah.
So it's still a bunch of people just like, who are you? What are you doing here? I don't know you. I don't know if I want to listen to you yet.
Yeah.
It's also still the stage of me being new to this group and trying to feel out like what is actually okay to do. Quickly, we learn, however, that basically everything is on the table.
Right.
Oh yes, we're
That's
all
true.
terrible. What? No, what? Not to mention, I mean, I like the way this group didn't mesh immediately, because one of my least favorite things in games is you meet people and you're like, well, you have an arrow over your head, so it's cool. We're friends.
We're all bros now.
So basically, episode 1 Barty.
Yeah, that's kind of a very typical start to a campaign where it's just like, oh, you're already an established party. Like everybody knows each other, everybody's cool with each other, and it's like.
But even then, I love like having the interpersonal conflict is
Right.
It's an interesting driving point.
Not
Even if
everybody
you're an established
with each other.
Well, no, I mean, and even if you're an established group, you're still going to have like you're not necessarily going to follow each other entirely. You're going to have little differences and arguments and things.
Right.
Yeah.
So everybody in the beginning is still very much themselves, and it's not so much about the group. It's more so about people kind of still looking out for themselves and trying to understand this dynamic of like, okay, am I okay with being on your side? I kind of have to figure out who everybody is.
I mean, it's good to have a mix of everything, right? Because if we all had Zells in a party, we would not be a party.
It would be a
Oh my
party.
god.
It would be a party of everybody going, oh, what's this?
You know what I'm saying? Like, we needed Nick and Barty to be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be the Elmer's glue and kind of, lightly kind of tag everybody together until we can actually solidify bonds, right? Yeah. Like, so we need any good party starting out needs at least one character or two that's willing to like do all of the like glue. I do that for my stream on Mondays. Like, Teapot is the glue. So I appreciate that as much as it's good to have that, like a couple of characters that are like, oh wow, okay, we have to get used to how you act. Like Zell, I've mentioned this before. It took us a while to get used to Zell as like how Drew was playing him and who he was as a character. It's really cool and it's really strong, but it's definitely a very different like play style that we all had to get used to.
Right. It's very much the idea of if you have. It runs the risk of if everybody doesn't talk about their characters and who they are beforehand or understand each other, there's that running risk of like a lot of people coming in with the same kind of mentality for their character. And you just have like, you can have a party of 5 people that are all loner, mysterious types. And you're just like, no one's going to say anything. Okay, I guess we're just walking to the next area and killing some things. Nobody's going to say anything. Okay.
I'm not a huge fan of the loner archetype when it comes to D&D because you're here for a reason. You're in a party. If you're going to be a loner like character, then you need to kind of establish that you're going to be in and out of the party. I have a friend who does it really cool that she likes to be by herself, but she is a Furbolg druid. And so when she needs loner alone time, she just turns into a bear, or she becomes a different animal. And that allows her to be part of the party without being super active vocally in the party, but still remain kind of aloof. And I think that's a cool way to manage it. But like, if you all have like, I'm too cool to look at explosions, like I'm a loner type, like it doesn't, I don't think it makes for a good party dynamic to have a lot of that.
I mean,
it also fundamentally doesn't make good podcast.
Yeah.
In our sense, it doesn't make good podcast. It doesn't make good character development, but it like for the sake of like a different game, like if we were going to do an in-person game, not recorded and just have it be like, straight up map tactics, like this is the kind of game we're playing, that's totally fine. But like for the sake of trying to create an audio drama with like different dynamics in character and conflicts happening that create interesting things to listen to, it's not a good thing. Yeah. And the fact that each of you guys come to the table with a very different dynamic helps kind of that mentality of like, okay, we're a group, how are we going to figure out what each of our place is within this cacophony of mess?
And just like everything, there is an exception, because Morgan, the exact sentence you said explains Moose. The last episode I was editing, she literally walked away from an explosion because she was too cool to look at. But
like the cool thing about Moose, I think, is that she's really, out of all of our characters, the only one who does need that kind of distance and alone time. So like that, I think works. And Hannah does I've talked about this before. Like both Drew and Hannah have just like totally impressed me this campaign with their commitment to staying in character for things. To a way that is not a detriment to the party. It's not one of those like, oh, this is what my character would do and fucks everybody over. It's more of like, hey, like I'm staying in character for this thing, even though I know like out of game it might give me a bonus. Like I know that I'm going to stay committed to that. So I don't feel it's like someone being a dick and having their character rationalize it. It's their character making an honest character choice, which I think is a big difference.
Yeah.
The one thing I kind of visualized with the Moose is kind of as like a side thing is like that moment when Moose is like, oh, I do need alone time. But then she like walks off on her own and Jeff is just sitting there. And it feels like Jeff is the only person that Moose knows where they can literally be right next to each other. And she still feels like she's alone. Like they're like enough apart where like Jeff understands, I know you need your alone time, but I'm still going to stand here and protect you.
I mean, I think that's humans.
Well, for the most part, yeah.
I'm not going to talk for Hannah.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think, and I don't know how much of this is like spoilery. I don't know how much of this I've been appropriately conveying, but I think Moose is also, and we'll obviously find out why eventually in like 3 years. But Moose is very much also motivated by her attachment to these people. Like she fell into this group of people and realized that they do something for her and they do give her maybe some occasional warm fuzzies or benefits. So as much as she like hates the idea of being immersed in like this party, I don't think she would be anywhere else right now.
I also feel like Moose is still a baby.
Yeah, she's a child. She's literally a child.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, Zell is too, but
yeah, I mean, in the game today, like, there's no spoiler or anything, and we said earlier of like Mortimer's kind of the dad of the group. So the fact that Moose and Mortimer had that initial like conflict in that shop of like, you know, put it down, don't take it.
But Mom said.
But later on, to keep it very vague, we grow that relationship, and it still has like some tension in there, but also has like really good bonding moments.
Yeah.
That dip in and out.
I can't wait till we get to that part.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good thing in that like we all have different vulnerabilities, I would say. So it's good to kind of move between those. Yeah. I'm excited to see and to like for people to get to see how these relationships have progressed beyond us disowning Zell. Like not with us Snow where we are now. I will say it's one of my favorite editing moments in the podcast so far. I think it was Josh that edited it, is the moment where Drew or like Zell is creeping up the stairs to go fight with the like to go explore when he was literally just told not to, and he like drops the music out as Drew does his wonderful, and it just like it's so satisfying to listen to. It's such a great Drew moment that Josh did a really good job highlighting.
Thank you. Yeah, that was episode 6 where that happened. But like to get to where we're at now is approximately at a minimum 40 weeks away. I just did some quick math. So the bonds will take some time to get to.
So much. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
we got a lot to get through.
That is only if every session is 2 episodes.
Right.
Which it's not. So it's more. So there's a lot that happens, and you will see that it will happen over the next year of episode releases.
How long did Strahd take us?
It took us about 2.5 years.
About 2.5 years? Okay.
So yeah, the last thing we'll talk about before going into questions is how did everybody feel before going into this battle? Like obviously there was some weird shifty stuff going on with these Zhentarim people, these slippery snakes coming in and being all like, hey, what's good? How did you guys feel as characters, like kind of talking with them?
Highly suspicious.
Oh, of course, yeah. I've already had a run-in with Kella, I would assume that.
I thought we were fine from a tactical point of view, so I was going in relatively confident despite the scatteredness of the group.
Surreal was feeling very, because I think there was a lot of people who were like, I know everybody was like, all right, we should just kind of ignore him or close the gate. And like, I think Surreal was very much like, I want to deal with this problem head on.
We didn't go into the fight yet.
Right.
Just a heads up.
I know.
Okay.
But like from the get-go, she wants to deal with this issue kind of straightforward.
Yeah.
You know? So
And also, to be fair, this is like the first battle that's been like, all right, there's a lot of enemies we got to get through. This is actually a bigger battle than like picking off goblins here and there.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Although I know that there was also a kind of frustration on Zeril's part because she's like, there's no one here. There's no one here. This is a shitty town that's been destroyed by boulders. And this is the second time we're gearing up to get in a scrap about it. So, yeah.
Which is where Mortimer and Surreal fully disagreed on.
Mhm.
Because finding out that other people were around, they just weren't here. It was their home. So
Yeah.
protecting our home for them to come back to instead of them now being completely homeless and, battered. Mortimer was all for protecting the empty space behind him because it will eventually mean something to somebody. So we were going in with very different mindsets.
Yeah.
And Moose was pure like, I'm not gonna fucking die today. I don't care about who these people are. I don't care about what they want. I don't care about who these people in this keep are.
Zell still thought everyone was crazy.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. As Zell does.
And
What
still
about Barty?
thinks, probably.
Probably.
What was Barty thinking?
Marty was like, "This might be a good story. I might get some content out of this. Always be creating content.
Everything is content.
Barty-
ABC. Always be creating.
yeah. So that's what he was thinking up as they're running to the gate.
I will flat out say Jeff was thinking, damn, it feels good to be the Storm King. That was
like
what's
they
going
have
on in his head.
Damn, I feel like a storm king.
Anyway, so yeah, let's hop into some questions and see how that goes. So who wants to ask the first one? Josh, ask a question.
Sure. How are you doing, John?
I'm good. Great.
Good. Who's next?
Hold on. I just got to the episode, or just past the episode in Wolf 359 where they play the question game, and it's like the AI against one of the characters, and they're like, "This needs to end. It's been like 2 hours. Please, please."
If you haven't listened to Wolf 359, you should, not just because of Zach Valenti, but because it's an amazing show. Also, keep your ears out for something maybe concerning that team in the near future. Just saying. Kazel on Discord stated, "What's Drew's third character like? You've been playing long enough to get a sense of their personality." It is session 12 we just finished, so how is the third character going?
You tell me. You have a sense of their personality, so you tell me about them.
It's too edgelordy. Like, it's all the
And
time.
That's just what I do. I always play an edgelord.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was kind of nice of you and kind of an interesting idea to just bring Ferguson back.
Yeah.
No.
I'm surprised you let me get away with that. I literally just scratched the name out and named him.
Shit happens.
The change to the Triton race for him, though, was a little out of character. It was really weird.
I thought we were gonna spoil the fact that Ferguson got reincarnated.
I rolled on my table and he came back as a raccoon, so I'm playing as a raccoon now.
A raccoon named
Oh,
Fergie.
Yes. I still have 2 tiny swords, though.
Oh my god. Named Fergie. I just imagine him as a bard that just goes around singing Fergalicious Depth.
What's the game you're waiting for, Morgan, that this character would be amazing for?
Humblewood.
Humblewood. That's it, yes.
yes.
What's Humblewood?
Oh, Nicholas, I put this link like 3 times in the Slack and specifically tagged you in it so that you would see it. Specifically, I tagged you in it.
I walked right into that one. I am so sorry.
They are cute. Like, so Humblewood is a campaign setting by the Deck of Many company. And they have this campaign setting where it was a Kickstarter. They started with a couple different races of like birds and then expanded out to different woodland creatures. But it has like a very like red wall, mouse guard, like very like fairy tale, like illustrated kind of look to it, where it's like cute little woodland animals and they're forest.
I'm gonna pull up my favorite one.
I put a link in the chat for people who are interested.
It's a little owl paladin.
Yep. I remember seeing that picture.
A little
Right.
paladin.
A paladin. Yeah.
No,
So-
that one is not allowed to pass.
I was sold on it by the guy at Gen Con because he was like, well, we know that our art is going to attract kids. Like it's very cute. So we know that it's going to get attracted.
Damn.
So all of our villains are pretty much redeemable in some way. And some of our villains are smoochable. He's like, that one's more for the adults. And I was like, slide me the soul. But yes, you can play Fergie the raccoon in a Humblewood setting. I'm probably going to play a game of that. I'm going to probably run a setting.
Yes.
I'm so excited for that. I can't wait
I
to
want to be
play a little tiny woodland critter.
owl.
Smoochable owl. Okay,
I guess it's probably not so smoochable. It's like
peckable.
Wait, I'm sorry. Just to like completely derail this for a minute more, I told my niece about it, who's 5, and she told me that she wants to play a hedgehog named Twinkle. That's a bard playing the guitar.
Hell yeah!
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
we are already getting her started.
Yeah. My brother came in from outside after smoking a cigarette and like squinted and was like, "Fuck, are you doing?"
Teaching her about
Dungeons and Dragons.
Gav
like,
would love
that
that.
out.
Critters.
Mm-hmm.
Love me some critters. Anyway,
All
let's ask another question, Morgan.
Let's see. Hannah, how do you feel about brutally murdering some goblins who just wanted to have fun? These guys epitomize the phrase "I came out to have a good time," and I'm honestly feeling so attacked right now. That's by Sarah Senna on Discord.
Listen, I feel very sad and upset about it. Moose has no compunctions whatsoever. Moose is ridding the world of a plague. She's doing her duty.
I think in our friends, like our college like chat, someone was like, "Oh, I started listening and I love Moose," and you were like, "Maybe wait until after."
Hold off on your moose tattoos. For a
Maybe
bit.
you hold off until you get through the genocide part and then see if you're
It's
still
off on your moose tattoos.
Listen.
Mid tattoo, she's listening to the genocide episode. And she's like,
It's like, never
Oh.
mind.
Can you change this tattoo in the middle of it? Is that fine?
Can you change that to a goose, please?
I'm
we're going Top Gun now.
Right now. Yeah, I can't really talk a lot about that for reasons.
reasons and things.
Surreal doesn't care. They clearly were taking advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, I know.
How
things.
does everybody else feel about Moose's genocide?
I don't know if at the time Mortimer took it that way because everyone was on board with, clearing the town out because, as Morgan just said, they were taking advantage of the situation, and goblins are, in that world, goblins are referred to as a quote-unquote monster race. They are not good people, or things or whatever.
We've gotten to the sleeping goblin, right?
I was gonna say the one moment that I think like tips it over from like, oh, these are combatants, is the moment where Moose snipes the one that Barty had knocked out.
Right.
And Barty was like in the middle of like, hey, we should ask a quo. No. So I think that's the moment where I think Surreal was like, oh,
this is a thing.
yeah, like, oh, I that is not a choice that I personally would have made.
Yeah. I mean, Barty's introduction of Moose wasn't a very physical altercation. So up until we get to Nightstone, Barty is looking at Moose as this younger person that he has to look after, and realizes very quickly on that that's not the case. Moose can handle herself, and now you should probably try to not get on her bad side because she's quick to murder if we.
Moose not only can defend herself, but also needs a therapist.
Hey.
Yeah.
Does therapy exist in Faerun?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
It's fantasy.
Put
Anything
that
can
in my
exist.
What about Zell? How does Zell? Zell feels how he feels about pretty much everybody. Stop murdering things.
Stop killing everything you see for 5 seconds, please. At least try to talk to them.
I see Sophie back there. What does Sophie have to say?
Sophie has to say,
Sleep.
honestly,
Oh,
Oh, cute girl. All right, let's go to the next question. Let's go with Nick.
Okay. Inside the Storm King. Does Ant-Man make a guest appearance and pull that fanfic theory that Reddit suggested would work for Endgame?
Now, does everyone here know that theory?
Nope.
Okay, so
Oh,
the theory
Anna.
was that the only way to take down Thanos was for Ant-Man to shrink down to very small size and jump up Thanos' anus and expand.
Would you call him anus?
Yes, you jump up the Thanos and expanus.
I'm flat out saying no because I ain't having nothing crawling up Jeff's butt. Not happening.
Boy, had to go to the
Not
vet once, so they
in
shoved
my
the ball
game.
there and he was traumatized forever.
You just wrecked him.
No.
Oh god.
Even more no.
That question, by the way, is from Rogue 2015.
Yes.
Sorry, we like totally just sullied everything about it.
No, that question deserved it. Like, I mean, it's a solid question.
You could say we soiled it.
I'm very happy about the headcanon that Jeff is the Storm King, but I'm gonna be so disappointed when it's not the case. And
Headcanon.
yeah, sorry. Because I feel like Bucky would never do that to Jeff. No, he wouldn't do that to Jeff, right?
And the end of the story is everybody makes friends with the Storm King, and the Storm King saves the planet and plants some trees.
Right before the Storm King kills us all, he sees Jeff and is like, "Oh my god, he's so adorable!"
No, wait. There's enough of us. We could Jeff could become Storm King. Could be Captain Planet because there are 5 of us. We just need to collect the 5 powers.
Okay, first off, Barty's definitely Hart.
Yep.
I was 100% heart.
Without even question.
We just need the 5 powers, and we can unlock the Storm King out of the Jeff form into the Storm King form.
King Jeff, he's our hero. Okay, so let's move on to another one. Let's go with Drew. Ask the question.
This one is from C-Tate on Discord. Tongue in cheek. Now that the Zentarum have murdered the whole party, how are you all coping with having to spin up new characters in mass?
Spoiler alert! Oh my lord!
Technically, it's for the next episode, but he's clearly solved the issue. He's solved the puzzle.
Yeah, he solved my game, apparently.
This is what happens when you get Patreon because they get episodes before everybody else.
And now he
And
knows
what's
what.
up?
Now he knows that we all have to get new characters.
Well, episode 7 is out in 2 days, so you guys all hear it live then.
I mean, it's my 3rd character, so
Actually, this question
I died
is
twice in a
He
fight.
just goes through 3 characters in one session.
Second character, Drew's second character appears out of nowhere, immediate kill.
Dead, runs into an attack and dies.
Yeah.
so as tongue in cheek as the question is, it brings up another question for it. What if that did happen?
Oh, I have a character already planned. I already have a second
But
character.
what would we do? I think I was leaning towards Bucky. What would happen if we TPK'd
Oh yeah.
We'd move on.
How?
in the campaign?
Yeah.
New characters?
That would have essentially been a prologue.
Okay.
That would have been that would have introduced something and would have introduced an issue that was happening,
Oh,
and
weird.
And then 4 cities away.
then something else would have happened.
Yeah.
It was like
I mean, most likely that's probably what I would have done, but I probably would have spent some time really considering it and figuring out what the best course of option would be. Because it's rough to kind of figure out what to do because it's not really, it doesn't make for good storytelling to just have all the characters die and then just have another crew roll up and be like, hey, what's good? So I mean, I probably would have just closed that story off and then went on to a different story of like, this is something that happened somewhere else, and then we would have dealt with another issue. However, though, since we were at that point early on in the show, there would have been a potential possibility where we would have been like, that's not what's going to happen. We're going to go do something else now. And we just
You
never
all
would have
wake up
released-
from simultaneous.
you never would have learned about those characters because we could have been like, well, that's where that ends.
yeah,
So
good
I don't-
point.
I don't know a ton about this module, but like, is it very like a chosen party kind of
Not
situation?
necessarily. It could be really anybody.
Yeah.
Up to a certain point where it's just very much like, this is what's happening and this is kind of the story. mostly before that, it's very much like you can kind of be anywhere or anything. There's no real tie. All of the ties that really link you guys to the game in general are all from me. Like, there's not really much of a motivation other than like giants are doing stuff. Everything might get destroyed. Figure it out. So a lot of what's tying you guys to what's happening with the story is all coming from me and all the ideas that I'm coming up with and like homebrewing to make sense of like giving you guys direction in what's going on in the story.
Which is something we've discussed because the Nightstone quote unquote problem was that will it become a wild sheep chase where we look at it and go, nope, and leave because we don't have any attachment to it. The idea of the giants attacking Faerun, would that ultimate big problem become a wild sheep chase problem too? Because we go, someone else will handle that.
Right.
So that's been something that we've talked about in and out of game of like where do we get tied in? And John, as you just said, creating those ties for us to keep us going. Like, I mean, there would be no story without Jeff anyway. It's all about him.
Yeah, all about Jeff.
Yeah. So just keep Jeff alive. Done.
Cool. All right. Hannah.
Me.
Another
Good.
question.
I'm glad nobody took the one I wanted to ask. Bucky, how easy is it as a nice tie-in? How easy is it to put the player's backstory into the story arc? Was it easy? Did it require a bit of shoehorning? Or was it more square peg round hole? And that's from Rogue 2015 on Discord.
I would say that some were easier than others. Obviously, I can't give away too much of the backstories of everybody, but like after kind of going through people's backstories and like reading through the module, I read the module a long time ago before we even started. So I kind of was getting an idea of how the story was progressing and then got these backstories from everybody. And then I was like, okay, how could I use bits and pieces of what's here and tie it into the story? Very similar to what Josh did with Ven
with Argon Vostholt.
With Argon Vostholt, where it was just like, oh, okay, I have this character who has a silver dragon pet. He's going through this whole thing. Oh, look, a castle built around a silver dragon. 1 + 1 = 4. So that's how that kind of happened. And there are some portions of people's backstories where I can go, oh, that kind of ties in pretty nicely to what's happening here. I can kind of like fit certain pieces there. But for other people's, it takes a little bit of work, and I'm still actually currently, even though we're 12 sessions in, still working on those individual pieces of tying everybody into the story. So it's never a solid, like, we started, this is what's happening. I didn't know what was going to happen. So there could be a very likely chance where like next session something happens and I just go, oh shit, I got to change a lot of the notes that I had prepared for this because someone did something that changes the scope of what their character is going to end up as.
Or like if someone dies.
Right. If someone dies, that character's like whole
so
path
Bucky
is gone.
is writing all new tie-ins right now.
Everything's brand new. We're on third characters. I've had to rewrite everything twice so far. It's a lot of work. Please send help.
And Bucky, you can
to this chair.
You can deny to answer the
your
question.
donations. I can free.
You can deny to answer the question if it's too spoilery. But which character's backstory was the easiest to interpret into Storm King's Thunder?
Like, did you have a character that just clicked?
Yeah, you're just like, oh, this is perfect. Like,
I'll say
a
couple of you clicked, but the first one that really clicked was actually Mortimer. He gave me a little bit of insight into something that was happening, and I immediately saw something and read something in the book where I was like, I can immediately use that and turn that into something.
Nice. Cool.
But all throughout kind of the process of what was going on, there's very specific moments that'll tie to each of your characters. That's coming up soon because there's an entire portion of this book that I ripped out entirely, and I'm like, I didn't rip it out.
Don't do that to books, Bucky.
I didn't actually rip it out, but I'm ripping
Can
it
I have
out.
those pages?
There's a very large portion of the book where I am not including into this because it's very boring and very like the scope of it is too huge to be entertaining for a podcast. But there are very key moments within that chapter where I'm like, that can fit with this person, that can fit with this person. Some people's stories fit in exactly to what was going on within the story, and I could pull something from that. Other people's backstories had very little to do what was happening within the story, and I kind of had to come up with an idea all my own that you'll see. I actually came up with the idea for Zell's character, and I came up with an idea for Barty's character that's going to tie in a little bit later. But yeah, it was kind of hit and miss for some of the people, and others were just like, yeah, this works.
I also just genuinely enjoy seeing what a DM will do with the story that you give them. So like seeing how you take something that we've established and like flesh it going forward. That's always really fun.
Usually after every session, I'll sit down for a little bit, or like after every session, I'll like sit for a little while and like think about what happened, think about the choices you guys made. And I'm just like, okay, how is this character progressing as in their character, and how is this going to lead towards what I have written? And if it doesn't, what do I have to scrap to make something else fit? So you guys as characters are kind of evolving and changing with each session. And after each session, I have to kind of go, okay, how can I mold and change this until I eventually get to that point where it's like, okay, spotlight's on you. This is what's going to happen. And it's a culmination of everything that you guys have done throughout the game.
There's also a benefit to both sides of what you get from a player, of whether or not you get your novella from Bucky or you get your iPhone note length from Nick. You can do a lot with
no
both.
Punctuation, one sentence.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a stream of consciousness. It's just like, oh my god, and then this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened.
Yeah, because with, like, say, John's, when I was doing the stuff with Argon Vosholt, I was like, let me read through and what works, because there's a lot to work with here. You don't need to think about a lot. You could just take it, whole sections, and work with whatever you need, and then you can just workshop. With, like, Kent, I had one event to work with, so if I wanted to do literally anything else, I just needed to ask if that was okay.
Yeah.
That's it. So it gave you a lot of free range. So there's no good answer of what you should be getting from your players. It's actually the only good answer is what they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
We have all very different style. I know that like Bucky's very into like writing all the novellas. Hannah and I make Pinterest pages, and like I do short stories. Yeah, playlists and short stories and do all that. And like Josh is like 5 sentences. This is it. Like they're like short sentences. So, and I know when we were coming up with Charlotte and Crust, like I know Drew's very much more off the cuff with his character creations, and I was like pestering him with like fucking 4 personality quizzes. I was like, "Is your character a Gemini?"
Yeah, is.
So like it takes all different kinds to develop that. But I think so far with like the backstories, I think that the easiest ones sort of woven in so far, I think, have been Barty's, and I think Moose's,
which we don't know anything about yet.
In the actual podcast, released episodes, you guys know nothing. We're all Jon Snow. We know nothing.
Well, they know a little bit from the little snippets that I said.
From the snippets, from
very,
the love letters.
Yeah.
But like we've gotten more like little hot tidbits from, I think, Barty's backstory, and we've got stuff going on with Zell's. Surreal doesn't have a super interesting backstory, so it's kind of fine that it's
I wouldn't say that. There's some pretty interesting stuff about her backstory.
There's some juicy stuff you're gonna find out, but it's not.
We're like hot goss.
Yeah. It's the hot goss.
I think we already gone through maybe 80% of my backstory by released content.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Mortimer is a very, very simple character.
Yeah. I had one event written down. 2 events written down.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm really glad to know that, because in the like notes that I have been keeping, I've been like, "What's Mortimer's secret?"
It's funny enough that Mortimer's secret, I am the only one that knows. He doesn't even know the secret I have for him.
Well, no, there's another one as well.
There is another one, but yeah, that's something very different.
We've kind of gotten some like, I can't remember if it's been released in. I don't
think so.
We've gotten some like little pennies dropped in the idea well.
Yeah, the only one I would say out of you so far, not spoiling anything, the only one who's like backstory everyone kind of knows consistently is Zell.
Yeah.
The only one that everyone's just like, oh, we know who this person is now. Other than that, the rest of you have been very like, I don't want to talk about my backstory. I don't want to talk what's going on in the past. We're going to keep to ourselves. And then it all has kind of come out through like, oh, I heard this shit. What's going on over there?
You know how there's that episode of Atlanta that's just the commercials? No? Okay. Well, there's an episode of Atlanta that's just commercials in the like Atlanta universe. That's where but it's on the can though, comes from. I think we should have an episode of this Storm King's romp where everybody's just in their individual therapy sessions.
I love it.
We'll do it right after we finish, and we'll just go back, and I'll be the therapist and just go, okay, so how did that make you feel?
Instead of doing a mailbag, we should do a therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a moment coming up
characters.
in. Oh man, I thought it was the episode that just is coming out, but in like 3 episodes from now, I think it's episode 9.
Okay.
Nick has a wonderful bit of
Oh, yeah.
Good.
like
It's
you
so
get
good.
backstory and that thing that Hannah was just talking about of like go on. Nick has a wonderful moment with it.
Yeah.
It's probably the hardest I've ever heard Morgan laugh during a recording session.
Okay. Are we on to next question?
Yeah, we'll ask the next one. I'll do the next one. We'll ask this one. For Drew, is it safe to assume that Zell has never heard the story about Curiosity and the cat?
Probably pretty safe. Although he may have seen that puppet show. It's a romantic comedy, right? Between
Yes, yes,
Curiosity and the rogue named Cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Yeah, the Curiosity Rover. Yeah.
Yes.
I think
Oh, yeah. A rogue named Cat and the Curiosity Rover meet and fall in love.
yeah. I think what's funny about that is that he probably has heard it, but most people forget the second part of that phrase is curiosity killed the cat and satisfaction brought it back. So that's probably his philosophy is like, well, I'll get
It was worth
satisfied
it.
by it. Yeah.
Listen, he can just run away, so he's not worried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so fast.
How was that sword satisfaction?
That
Got
was,
away.
Something.
Ooh, that was
Open the
less.
chest, get attacked by a sword.
That was
That
less
was-
satisfactory because
that was-
bad.
Sheer luck that Bucky rolled so shit.
Oh
One
yes,
That was
hit point.
1 hit point.
but he ran away, so it's fine.
That's true.
It all worked out. He ran
I
away. It's okay.
wish we had a recording of the video because I think
We do.
all of us were like,
We do.
oh, we do?
Yeah.
We should go back to that moment and just like, it's
find
like
it.
every single one of us were like, what the fuck?
Everything from session 2 on, we recorded the Zoom session for.
Okay.
I think you've made that face pretty much every time I've done anything, Lizelle. I think you all made that face at the end of the session we just recorded.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, 40
Like,
weeks
like,
later, still
A
the same
direct
thing.
quote from
Yeah.
Nick Figueroa from an hour and a half ago is, God damn it, why did we let Zell go last?
It's true. Yeah.
All right, there's one question left, and we have 5 minutes left, so
Yeah.
let's just
Perfect.
tank through.
Yeah,
so,
go for it.
Also, that question that we just got, I forgot if it was mentioned, is also from Rogue.
Yep.
This last one is from Sarah Senna. How much of Zell messing with Barty's bird is Drew messing with Nick?
Like 95% of it.
Yeah. I don't want my bird to die, Drew. I don't want my
Wait
bird to
until
die.
there's another good chance for it. 'Cause we haven't really had one lately.
We haven't, yeah, because I mean, Flock Brown is obviously part of Barty's backstory, and we'll get into all that stuff. But Flock Brown was designed to not really be a Jeff; it was more just to be a
Flavor text.
flavor text. Exactly. So Flock Brown isn't always with the party. So Drew messing with Flock isn't constant, but it's something that I hope we keep getting to bring up.
Oh, it's gonna happen again.
It would be funny, right? That Zell is like, how dare you attack these goblins? But fuck that bird.
It's like Sylvester the
Yep.
cat.
I just imagine at one point, like, Barty wakes up and Flock's not around and immediately walks up to Zell and, like, fuck, what's his name? From Iron Man 2. He's just like, I want my bird. I want
Whiplash.
with my bird.
Did somebody in the Discord ask if Flock was Barty's hostage or
Yes. Where it's some Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. All right, so that's all of our questions. Anybody got any last words to say before I kill all your characters?
Loaf.
My
Again.
last words are everyone settle in for 40 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Minimum.
we got a lot going on. Josh and I have our work cut out for us.
Yep.
By the time we get there, you'll have forgotten all about what we said in
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So that's it. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Do you want to say who we are before we head out?
Yeah, I have some announcement stuff to make first.
Oh, yeah, Josh.
I can't say anything specific, but we are going to be doing some partnership stuff with some different companies for some giveaways and some like coupon kind of things and whatever. So keep an eye out on Twitter for all of those. We'll probably throw it into the audio episodes as well, just to make sure we get everybody with that, to make sure nobody misses out. So that will be coming up shortly. I think that's it. Otherwise,
tomorrow.
Oh, yes. Tomorrow we are doing a stream at 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. We're doing Beyonder. We'll be joined by, I'll be DMing. Then we'll have Drew, Morgan, and John from here. And then Jacob McIntyre from Flying Night Bear Games. There we go. Who's the creator of Beyonder. Tim Lanning from what was Drunks and Dragons and is now Greetings Adventurers.
He's the best.
He's flipping
It's
funny.
pretty great.
And Renee Rhodes from Fate and the Fable Maidens. So Tim and Renee will be picking up their characters from our last Beyonder stream, which Jacob was the DM for. I will be flying by the seat of my pants tomorrow. Very nervous, but Jacob is there to help correct me with the rules in the universe. So it'll be my first time running the game, so you get to see a like novice setup, and we get to experience Beyonder. So again, that's 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and for those not watching live, that's Sunday, August 25th. And since I'm going already, I'm Josh. I play Mortimer. You can find me on Twitter at ZyroxisTheBeard. You can see the thing below. And yeah.
Morgan.
All right. My name's Morgan. You can find me on Twitter at ThistleRaven, where I talk about D&D stuff and also complain about the MTA. You can also find me Mondays on Pro Restarter's stream on Twitch, playing Teapot, who is Kobold Rogue Bard. Very cool, very sweet. And that's where you can find me right now. So come on Mondays. It's a Dark Sun campaign. It's not gonna last forever, which is breaking my fucking heart. But it's DM'd by the great Not Another Nate, and we're having a great time with it.
Hannah.
I'm Hannah. You can find me on Twitter at TinderOrganic. I mostly like post cute pictures and complain about the state of our existence and how we're all going to die when the sun explodes if politics don't kill us first. And that's basically all I do ever.
Drew.
I'm Drew, and I've played Zell, and you can find me on Twitter at cyber_Sasquatch. You can also find me on, I don't know, like a dozen podcasts at this point as guest voices and things. So you've probably heard me somewhere else at least once.
Nick.
I play Barty McFly, the one and only. You can find me on all social medias at Nico Figs. I don't really do too much on Twitter, but I will respond to tweets, and I retweet a lot of things. So, yeah, just reach out on there. Say hi.
You can see some sweet dancing on that Instagram.
Woo.
That's
yeah,
true.
I'm always
yeah.
dancing on my Instagram. So I should be going out tonight. So if you want to see some dancing on my Instagram,
There you go.
I'll be sure to post some stuff.
Stay tuned. And I'm Bucky. You can find me on Twitter at Bucky_Masters. I also don't post a lot, but usually when I do, it's probably some weeb shit. So yeah, if you want uploads of weeb shit, you got me. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Bye.